An Indian patrol aircraft flew low over a train, and as the wind blew, the tarpaulin covering the train was lifted. The pilot looked down and his face immediately changed. It turned out that the Pakistani military was conducting a covert troop movement. The pilot wanted to report back to headquarters quickly, but the Pakistani forces weren't going to let them leave alive immediately. The Pakistanis opened fire with anti-aircraft artillery, determined to shoot them down. The pilot behind turned back to retaliate. Although he blocked the first wave of attacks, he was met with even heavier fire. He maneuvered the aircraft into a canyon, and despite being hit, managed to escape thanks to the aircraft's still intact systems. The pilot then emerged from a narrow crack in the canyon on the other side. The two pilots were determined to stop the military movement. The pilot launched a missile to sever the train's tracks, while his teammate drew fire. The high-speed train derailed, and the mission was a success. On the way back, Pakistan launched two heat-seeking missiles from a hidden base. The pilot evaded them by flying the aircraft into a mountain peak, while his teammate followed orders to destroy the fuel tanks, using the explosion's heat to detonate the missiles. Both pilots narrowly escaped. Upon returning to base, the two were reprimanded for crossing the border. It wasn't until the pilot showed photos of the situation that their superiors realized the severity of the mission and urgently reported it to command. The pilot suggested taking preemptive action, but they missed the opportunity while waiting for orders. A few hours later, the Pakistani forces launched a surprise attack on the Indian base, raining down artillery and causing heavy casualties among the pilots. The pilot risked his life to shut down the base's main power, giving everyone a brief respite. One pilot was crushed by a fallen military vehicle while trying to protect his teammates, but the others pushed on despite the grief. Furious, the Indian military launched a counterattack. The pilot led a team to strike the heart of the Pakistani forces' space-age assault fighter base. Leading 12 elite pilots, they flew at 300 feet to avoid radar detection, reaching the target in the early morning hours. During the operation, they destroyed radars and missile launchers, then wiped out the enemy aircraft one by one. In just 20 minutes, only two planes were left hidden in a hangar. The pilot, dodging anti-aircraft fire, turned back and, with his team covering him, destroyed the command tower. The collapsing tower crushed the hangar, and they quickly withdrew. A teammate who wasn't qualified to lead took a damaged aircraft and followed them. Along the way, they encountered Pakistani space-age assault fighters, and the enemy launched heat-seeking missiles. The teammate rapidly ascended, fired a missile, and shut down the aircraft's engine, using the missile's heat signature to escape. The Pakistani pilots assumed they had hit their target and continued to chase the main force. However, the teammate restarted his aircraft, pursued the enemy, and managed to damage their plane. After being counterattacked, the teammate's aircraft was destroyed, and with ammunition exhausted and heavy injuries, he crashed his plane into the enemies. The Pakistani pilot ejected to safety, but the teammate's parachute failed to deploy, and his plane crashed on Indian soil. After the battle, the pilot learned of his teammate's heroic actions. 30 years after his sacrifice, the hero was posthumously awarded the nation's highest medal for Air Force bravery.